Oh, is it working? Having problems. Problems. No, we're back. Here we go. Oh, excellent. Let's see if YouTube's working. It is working. Very good. Da, 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 da. Let's double check that it's probably working. Let's see if YouTube's working. Great. Okay. How do I see chat though? My chat is not working. Okay, multi-stream chat. Oh. Yeah, authorized. Okay, cool. I think we're working. Okay, YouTube Studio. View the channel. Okay, not because I'm streaming it. Exit that. Okay. We're working. We're going. We're moving. Let's just turn that down. Nothing. Got a second monitor. Get rid of that. Move down to the second monitor. Then we can go to the main scene. Okay. It's time to start a new mirror page. Fresh ideas, fresh game plan. Let's see how it works. Let's just go Tom's boards. Yep. New board. New board. Completely blank. Blank. Oh god. Go away, mirror. I don't care if you know what I'm working on. We working? Yeah, we're working. Okay. Fresh game. Let's figure out at least some starting points, because I believe as a designer that the limitation is the well, how you describe that? The limitation is the breeding ground for creativity. So non-negotiables. That's all right. Wait. Ah. Is that right? Is that spelled correctly? Yeah, it is. Jesus. Okay, non-negotiables. We've got 2 months dev time, at least in the plan, which means it's gonna be quite a small game, small project. We've got very short gameplay loop. I want somebody to download the game, get into it within a minute, and understand the game within 5 minutes, if that. Short gameplay loop, clear understanding of what's going on. I think I'm just going to pause the music. I think it's actually better with no music. Distracting my brain. So we got short dev time, short gameplay loop. Is that non-negotiable? That's not non-negotiable. So then let's do another color over here. Maybe like in orange for ideas and concepts that I like. So let's make this one bigger. Non-negotiables, ideas and concepts a bit bigger. Simulation is a game idea that I want to play around with. Simulation multiplayer. This is probably not something that I'm going to get into this game, but I want to get it down the board because all the games that I've loved over the years have been multiplayer, and so it only makes sense that in the future, if I want to make a game that I would love to play, that's another non-negotiable I said when I was setting out on this project was be a game I want to play. Cool. Simulation multiplayer. Are there any other concepts that I think would be interesting? I guess the other non-negotiable is minimal new skills required. You know, which is going to limit what I can make because coming from a designer artist background, I'm not the best programmer. But I'm not the best artist as well, so I can't be making crazy 3D worlds of loads of crazy stuff going on. So I'm going to stick to just making sure that I make something that I can actually make in the time. Because if I go in with a massive unknown of like a big wide design feature or core concept of the game that I'm not actually 100% sure how I can make. Hello, GM. Eyes. I think I should make the camera bigger because this is not a gaming stream now. This is a design stream. There we go. Okay, so non-negotiables, concept ideas. I think we need to start getting some more concepts and ideas down. Combat action. This is already going against some of the ideas because it's a new thing, but I've never designed a game with heavy combat action elements. So that'd be something that I'd really be interested in making because I think the game feel is such an important thing these days and making the game feel good very quickly. And that's just easy to do if there's something a bit more fast-paced or a more direct input thing that you're doing. So it's definitely something that I want to explore. Okay, simulation, multiplayer, combat action, ideas and concepts. Okay, I think strong aesthetic. This is something that I said, it's going to be hard to do in the timeline, but I want, even if it's a simple aesthetic or a aesthetic that relies heavily on bought packs, I want something when you look at it, you instantly get a vibe, There needs to be vibes in the art and the look. If there's vibes, people can relate to something or get involved in something or have some concept of what it is. I think, I don't know if it's a non-negotiable, but humor is something that I really enjoy doing in games. So let's try and get that in there. Cool. I think the first thing we should do is maybe go through my Notion page of old game ideas because we've got a whole thing here. Is there anything in here that could be converted or taken a bit out? Because I spent a lot of time thinking about game ideas, so why not have a look at some of them? Grim Reality. What was this one? I can't remember. Oh my god! It was in a task list. I was even making something. Oh, I remember that. This was a way too big of a project. This project had like survival elements, exploration elements, interactions with an NPC. It had so much shit, and I was trying to do it on my own. A Very Funky Apocalypse is, I think, a possibility. It has one big problem where it's a rhythm game, and I'm not really a musician. So let's put it up there. Game pitches. Let's do that in another one. Blue, cyan, whatever. You just want to cyan as well, and we'll do rhythm shooter. back when I designed this, it was more of an interesting idea because there were less rhythm shooters. But I've seen quite a lot of rhythm shooters since, but which means there's more inspiration and more things I can play and test and figure out my niche rather than just a high concept rhythm shooter. So it's not the end of the world if there's more of that kind of game than I maybe expected. Rhythm shooter, I think that there was another game idea I had, which is like a horror thief game. I'm in the process of writing a book as well at the moment, which heavily involves thieves and stuff. So I think that's what was on my brain. But for that, I'm imagining like Alien Isolation mixed with Thief. Thief game. I swear there was a big game called Thief. I don't know if I ever played it. Definitely something I probably should play. Oh, it's cheap now. Oh, I have to put my birthday in. 18 May 1997. Cool. Exposed. Age exposed. English reviews mixed. Recent reviews mostly positive.
Something began to wake you.
I don't care about cinematics. Show me some gameplay.
16.
Show me some gameplay.
Not be
Is there any gameplay trailer?
without taking a single life. Employing non-lethal arrow types. And using your blackjack for silent, stealthy, non-lethal takedowns.
I think this is too actiony for what I was imagining. I think it's more Alien Isolation than it is Thief.
And sometimes,
I think the Thief thing was more of just like it's more of an aesthetic for like what you'd be trying to achieve whilst the monster or whatever hunts you around whatever environment that is. But I think it's still cool. I don't know if it's possible in the timeline. It's very it is very level design focused, but I mean that's something that I'm good at, so that's good. I think we need something that like looks at simulation. What's a fun way? Because I've seen a lot of those games that are like second action games, you know, where you have your work or you're studying or whatever, and you have another thing on the side that is a game that you kind of occasionally click on or do. That was another concept, which is like satisfaction. If I could spell check. Just them. I know it's wrong, but I've got dyslexia, so I can't fix it without fucking AI. AI does all my writing for me now. No, it doesn't. So if you've got a simulation satisfaction second monitor game, you know, where you're doing something, you're saying what's going on, that's definitely got like what do I call that, like not design legs, but like indie dev kind of legs, you know. Someone could be interested in that and buy a cheap game that just goes on second monitor. The big thing with indie dev right now is the multiplayer stuff. Like, you know, we just seen that like prop hunt, people painting T-pose things around. Like that game's blown up, but I don't think I have the scope to do that for at least a few projects. I think I need to get a bigger scope and do some research into multiplayer more before I can get into that sort of phase of development. So the second monitor. Let's just explore that idea. Second monitor sim game. This would be hitting the simulation. You could probably hit some humor, and the key one is satisfaction. Like, it should be feel good. Oh, I did have an idea for something like this where it was like Road Manager, but imagine like just the road part of City Skylines, but you couldn't speed up time or slow down time. So it'll probably be running faster than real time, but it's just going. And as traffic appears, you have to like, figure out things. So like you could have just like a window whilst you're doing something else, and it occasionally does stuff. But it's quite risky doing that because like it's a very fine line then of interaction, like the cookie clicker kind of game where you get rewarded for doing things at certain times. Like, do I think that is a ethically good thing to design? I don't know. And then I guess another non-negotiable is like crowd moral design. I don't want to be making like a slot machine style game. I don't want to be doing gacha. I don't want to be doing anything that promotes gambling or promotes like bad mental health. So I might sound a bit wishy-washy, but it's something that I care about right now. We'll see about when I've finished making the game if I still care about that, but I'd like to think so. Short gameplay loop and quick to understand is quite hard with the second monitor sim game. Okay, let's explore that idea. Second monitor sim game. I think aesthetically I like the road idea. It's a bit like Mecha Million, that's what I'm talking about. What's that game that's like Metro Manager? Yeah, it's a mini motor. Oh, this is the game I was thinking about tonight, right? Very stylized game. Oh, so they use color to go. This person needs to get there and then go to there. So this is already more complicated than I think I would want for mine. This feels more main monitor game than... People love it though. Can't deny people love it. It does look very nice. But I don't know what I would add to this to make it better. Like, it looks pretty great. If anything, I would be wanting to detract and simplify so that it's more idle management rather than active management. But I haven't played it. Maybe it is very idle. Yeah, Mini Metro is the one I'd heard of. But I didn't know that they did Mini Motorways as well. Is it like... Let's see the reviews. Do people say it's like main or... Adaminium. Sure who that is. Hello. I'm not your father, but happy to say hello. Graphics. Oh, these reviews are crazy long. Not a single glitch. Easy to play, replayable. Price fire. Great idle game that teaches you not to get a job in the city you live in. Okay, it's an idle second monitor. So I think that idea is done better by these people, so that's scrapped. This one's good because I've already started, but I think I need to restart. Alien Isolation, thief horror game. This one, let's explore this one then. This one, I think, at the moment, I can't think of an idea better than Mini Motorway, so why would I make that? So, in this game, what are you doing? Let's just create some text. Okay. What do you do? You try and steal stuff from a space. I think I like the idea of it being like horror, so maybe like from space / haunted / infested house. You do a simple set of tasks like picking up, moving. This is a simple set of tasks. These could be like lockpick, move stuff, find hidden stuff inside things. But the key thing is that you're trying to do this quietly whilst tracking / avoiding some kind of monster, ghoul, I just put ghoul. 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 Oh, it's got an H. Ghoul. I think that this has legs because, like, the Alien Isolation. I mean, I know Alien Isolation 2 is coming out soon, or it's come out. Alien Isolation 2. The game I was making at uni, it's released. I can find it for you here. Steam. The Wilds of. Here it is. It's released. You can buy it if you want. I've only got 151 hours on record on Steam playtesting it, but yeah, finished it. I'm very proud of us. Yeah, but on to the next. Can't be living in the shadow of this game for the rest of my life. Consumed a lot of my life, but not all of it. So, Alien Isolation 2 release date? When does it come out? No official release date. Okay, so we don't. It's not Alien Isolation though, because I want it to be less focused on like story and the monster, and more about like environmental storytelling and like what's the fun? What's the fun? What is the fun? At the moment on my own, yeah, but we'll see. Other people might want to get involved, but at the moment, just with where I'm at with it, just gonna start something, try and make some games on my own, revitalize my creative brain, because working on one project for such a long time, it kind of consumes you a bit, and so just trying to do some small projects that allow me to stretch my design muscles, get back into the flow of coming up with cool ideas, and the key thing is making things that are short. So my non-negotiables, short gameplay loop, short dev time, and just be fun. So I want to try and get something done pretty quickly that I can like revitalize my creative brain. So in a horror thief game where you're getting chased by a monster, what is the fun? Because it's not like running around with a gun shooting the monster. That's not the fun, because that's just Doom. I don't want to make Doom. What is the fun? It's the rewarding feeling of completing the tasks or stealing something without detection. The feeling of fear and like stomach pitness when you have the sense that the monster is right behind you. But I don't think this is easy to achieve. I think this is not something that you can also show in the first 5 minutes of play, which is what I wanted to achieve. How about you? What are you doing at the moment? Adivinium? Okay, that's an idea. Rhythm shooter is kind of self-explanatory, but I think that my lack of ability to make my own music quickly and create those systems quickly just means that it's just not the right thing for me right now. I still think that there's like a really there's space for a rhythm shooter that feels more like Osu than it does a shooter that could be really satisfying and fun. Because I loved Osu back in the day. I played a lot of it, and I just kind of like there's like a crossover in my brain between me loving Counter-Strike and good aim and Osu and rhythm games. I think there's like something there where it's a more precise version of a rhythm shooter. Because generally the rhythm shooters I've seen have been more in the hack and slash realm, where you're carving your way through a million enemies, and it's more like Doom, but to the music. I don't know why I'm bragging on Doom so much. I do like Doom. I think it's a great game. I just keep bring up the fact that I don't want to make Doom. So let's move away and just start thinking about like maybe combining some different things like humor simulation. Like, is there a like a funny version of a sim game that could be quite idle? Like I like satisfying farming games, satisfying sim games, shop games. Is there an interesting or funny twist there? I mean, it's not particularly original doing farming sim / shop sim with humor twist. But I just think that is it's going down a well-trodden path, which is not a bad idea, because if I'm coming in and trying to learn a whole bunch of new parts of game dev that I haven't had to do because other members of my team have been doing it for me, is it a stupid idea to give myself a pretty well-trodden path to go down and just put a slight twist on something, do something in there that makes it interesting and new and different, and don't expect it to revolutionize the game industry, but just make something that will have a lot of support, a lot of interest, a lot of players that will know that they like it because it's the kind of game they like. There is definitely a merit to doing that, but is that what I want to do? Well, let's go down the thought process at least. I think farming sim is probably easier, but I think shop sim or like cooking sim is more aesthetically interesting to me. Like, I love playing Overcooked, and I've tried some other things in that sort of vein. I think that there's things lacking there. Obviously, Overcooked, a lot of the joy comes from multiplayer. Like, I don't know if I don't think I've played Overcooked alone more than like once. So obviously, if we're cutting the multiplayer element, then yeah, I do. I've never been someone that like spends shit tons of time in them. Like, I've played them and I enjoy them, but I honestly enjoy watching people play them more. Like, there's various people like YouTube, like if you look at like Sim Gamer Satisfactory playthrough. There's like a guy that I watch a bunch of. Let's Game It Out. This guy's so much fun to watch. Like, I enjoy this game more watching him do it than I do playing it. Which maybe means that it's missing this point, but it's not necessarily a issue of me wanting to play it, but I used to be excited by the idea of people playing it. Because I think that there is like also a lot of room to be funny with these sort of games, and it's easy to make that twist. If you have an aesthetic twist or like a gameplay twist where like it's all rushed, and so you're running around like crazy, a bit more Overcooked style. I think I should avoid the hardcore sim satisfactory style game just because the sheer breadth of content is quite big. Sure that the base mechanics are normally pretty simple. You got moving around, placing stuff, building stuff, having an inventory. That is all pretty standard. But then the breadth at which those things need to work and the breadth of numeric design is very high. That bar is high, and I don't think that as someone with my skill set, I can break into that well enough at this point. So I think it needs to be more humor twist, more the chaos angle. So maybe we shop sim, and it's really here whether you lean towards the humor or the simulation. Like, am I making like a satisfying rat style overcooked? Rat style overcooked game. I probably shouldn't be searching these things raw on stream, but I think it'll be fine. I mean, yeah, this is more the vibe. But again, this is going to rely heavily on multiplayer, right? It's going to rely on friend slot vibes. Um, a game that came out, Restaurants, yeah, that's a funny name to be honest. Co-op. Yeah, I mean, this is not a crazy vibe to go for. I like it. But again, like, this is too big for me. I think I'm probably gonna make something inside of a single plane. So even if it is in 3D, it'll be like 2.5D, where you're top down in 3D, or you're side on in 3D, or you're isometric 3D. Because I just think that one, it's a style of game I haven't made, so it's quite fun. And two, it does simplify design when you have a limited thing. Um, so the other starter game that I've wanted to design a lot is like uh, dungeon crawler slash what's it called when you die and lose your stuff? Hades. Fucking. Am I really going to just have a complete mental blank? Anyway, dungeon crawler. Hopefully someone in chat will tell me what I'm thinking of, because my brain is struggling. That should go there for the moment. Shop with a twist, or a twist. What if you had like? Okay, so going back onto like the second monitor sim game. What if we made it more leaning towards satisfying rather than funny? And what if we went with a like balcony garden manager, and you just fill out a little garden, and then at the end of the game you see the garden and it's done. Hello. Yay. Yaks. Balcony garden manager. This is more leaning towards the. Let's start with the what's the fun. What is the fun? Seeing your garden get pretty and nice chimes and feel good rewards when you click. This is very much a good feedback game, you know. You have it there, you develop it in the way you want, and then your management of it just gives you little nice dings and little sparkles when you do the right thing, whatever. Let's just search like garden manager. Not garden rivals, gnomes garden. Yeah, these are all just too involved. Cozy garden, this is probably more the vibe. No, this is too in depth. Do a fighting game where you do your character, you do all him. Not sure what that means. You do your character. Do a fighting game where you do your character, you do all him. Like a fighting game where it's like all of life. So you have to like raise him up as a child, and then, you know, go to the grocers and buy food to make sure you're ready for the fight, and do like an intense water cut to get your way in. Like, I mean, it's quite a funny idea if you did the right approach. But I think again, that will fail my more like Super Smash Bros. Yeah, but the problem is like with something like that, if it's not got a new genre defining thing, like fighting games, like there already are the great ones. Like I don't think that that's a space where I'm going to be able to make a difference or make something that someone finds more interesting than what Super Smash Bros does. Like, I'm sure that I could develop something that was like what do you call it? Like a fighting game where you faced an AI and the AI did moves and whatever. But it's like, is that ever going to be more fun than Super Smash Bros. Or any other fighting game that already exists? Probably not. Probably not. So why am I in that space then? I like this one just because it'll be pretty, right? You can make it pretty, and there'll be asset packs I can use, and it's quite simple. It can be single perspective, but it's not. It's even less active than like the Metro one. But is that a problem? Maybe not. Let's do this out. We shouldn't have "and" in bullet points. Yeah, I mean, that's going more. I think if I did that, I would lean more into the kinds of games that I like, which is not fighting games, which is more like action adventure, WoW style combat games where you do like build designs, and it maybe leads more towards the dungeon crawler. The problem with bosses, right, is that bosses have a lot of development time and are like they're single use content. It's never fun fighting the same boss again once you've already like there's fun figuring out the boss, then there's fun mastering beating the boss, but as soon as you have mastery over the boss, if you're doing it again, it's just a chore. And that's why a lot of like games like WoW, they need new content all the time, right? Because you have a experience which is designed and carefully curated for fighting this designed enemy that has moves and it has phases and it has cool moments where you discover things. You've got a lot of ideas. You've got more ideas than me. I'm supposed to be the game designer. What is the fun in the dungeon crawler? In terms of because this is going to be this is a small scale dungeon crawler. It probably have to be something like interesting build design, super fun, rewarding combat. It's never going to be expansive. The idea that the thing in WoW that I really liked is the element of timed content, which is something that you don't really see in a lot of games, which is, doing something on a timer instantly makes that, it gives you that jeopardy. It gives you the element of, oh, I have to do this, and I have to figure out a better way of doing this because I'm on a timer. And I've already explored this idea quite a bit, so it would be not a difficult thing for me to like get back into. So that's a plus. Google Rosemary click. Battle Cat. Oh, no, it's not right. Store. So if we look at that, so Battle Cats. Let's just search quickly. I don't think I've Battle Cats. I'm sure. Okay. I know exactly what kind of game this is. I'm not exactly sure. I don't think I've played it. It's a mobile game, it looks like. Based on my 5 seconds of looking, it's got like the aesthetic of like Super Auto Pets. Which is a game that I like, and it probably does it does lean itself towards a short development time because obviously there's no input. Super Auto Pets. But again, auto fighters are something that have had a lot now of design space. I can remember when they were first becoming popular, and I was like, oh wow, there's all these new ideas, but I think it's not something, again, that I feel confident in being able to bring something new and interesting. I guess when I was starting out, one of the other non-negotiables was like hooky idea. You need to be able to hear the description or hear the very base level understanding of what it is and be like, oh, that sounds interesting. I want to explore that more. Because I think with the modern era of like game design and social media and all those things, if you don't have that and you're not an established dev with trusted players and track record, there's no way anyone's going to like be interested in finding your game or invest the time or money it takes to play a game. So there needs to be something really hooky. It needs to be something that, you know, that's why I struggle with the dungeon crawler, because unless I figure out something in there to be really interesting, it's hard to say what a player coming in would like this over any other game. Which is why I like the idea of time content, because there's not many that do that. But this development, again, the development breadth of mechanics and concepts is quite big. But it's not impossible if you scale it properly. But I just wonder, like, would I be able to do that idea justice in the development time that I'm planning? Which is probably not. Okay. This is kind of now becoming this. What could be an interesting way to do like a garden or balcony garden or something manager game that would both be beautiful and I guess all these ideas are trying to base themselves on like unlimited scalable playtime. Sort of. Not really this one. And would it be better to, if I've got this short development time, is skip the replayability factor? But I just don't think I have the time to make enough content to make it worth anyone paying money for it. So maybe in ideas and concepts, we should be putting replayable content. Because as a designer, I don't want to take the piss of people's time, but I think with the development time that I have, it just makes sense to try and reuse content. Yeah. Normally when I'm coming up with game ideas at this stage, I would like start conjoining ideas, like joining two things, being like, oh, maybe this and this together would make a cool game. But I think that just leads to feature creep and muddying the designed experience. So something that's appeared in a few of my ideas that I've had over the years is timed content. So what are other ideas that we could do with timed content? You obviously have like the dungeon crawler vibe I was talking about. It's bigger. Where you like Mythic plus WoW. But is that fun single player? Who knows? I did play quite a lot of Fellowship as well, which was like Mythic Plus on its own, and it is fun. And so, like, do I think that there is a world where doing that on your own is not fun? Yes, I think there's also a world where it is fun. But the problem with any kind of dungeony or WoW or Fellowship clone style mechanics is that they're all based on the concept of teamwork and having other players in your team and roles, which is where a lot of the longevity of fun comes. And it's not something that I'll be able to do, so hard to say. So other timed content. What if we had like a manager game timed? I think this is kind of leaning towards, was there that game like Frostpunk? Frostpunk. I think this is like where time counts down, right? So it's not infinite. There is like an end point where like everything goes wrong. Or maybe it's just that it's harder to expand. I don't know. But imagine like a pretty small scale manager, city manager, road manager, or something game, but there's like an apocalypse coming and it's going to destroy the world, and so you are trying to, I don't know, sell your shop's wares before the end of the world comes so you can make it into heaven with more money. Because you know all the people, you know, traditionally like Catholicism, they had the whole concept of buying stuff from the church to make your life in heaven better or something. What's it called? I can't remember what it's called. But so is there a world in which there's like a funny twist on that where there's an apocalypse coming and someone's trying to sell their wares in their shop, but then why is anyone buying it? I don't know. Or is there a more logical end point? But I do like the idea, like the idea of a, because that what was it called? Mini motorways. Like imagine mini motorways, but instead of just endlessly making it bigger or better, a mini motorways is level based, isn't it? So it's like you have this level and you have to draw the road so it works, then move on to the next one. What if instead of level based you had like one world, and at the start there's a whole bunch of things and you have to adjust something or change something before something else happened? Or is there like a what would I describe this as? I've got an idea in my head. Like you got a shop management game. Zoom in so you can see. Shop management game. You owe money to the mafia. You have to earn that money before the end of the day or you die. Something like that, maybe? But is that fun? Is the idea of like rushing to sell all your stuff fun? Or something? Manage timed. This feels interesting, but that's why it needs more thought. Managing in timed. What are different other kinds of manager games? Like, is there something fun in like? But then I think that the problem with that is your core game loop becomes a lot around failure. It's quite a negative feedback loop where you try and like build something, and then that doesn't earn enough money, and so you have to start again and build, and then that fails, so you try again a different method. Like, this is not very satisfying, you know? So how can we make a timed management game where it's a satisfying loop? I mean, I guess you have it level based, so it gets harder and harder and harder to get that dopamine hit of, well done, you did the thing. If it's level based, that means that you can have situations where you start easy and gets harder. But then we're moving away from replayable content, which is really a non-negotiable, I think. Just with the dev time. I think I want to stick to like single level or replayable content or generated content. I don't want to be starting to make a series of designed levels. I think that's quite a dangerous track to go down with the development time we have. I mean, a classic for these small games is some kind of puzzly thing. But that's too vague of an idea to write down. So we're not write that down. Got a timed management game. What would a timed management game look like? My brain is slowing down. What are fun management games? I'm drawing a clock now. Okay, let's leave the management game until maybe something will strike me soon. Some stroke of genius. What other games could be twisted with a timed content factor? I mean, sure, all games could just be timed and then it's a different game, right? I guess the interesting thing with timed content is like the concept of a leaderboard. The concept of I did a thing faster than anyone else. But that's them relying on sort of multiplayer, sort of something else. I just think that with the scale of game, dealing with multiplayer or even like having a simple server that has a leaderboard on it is quite a risky way to go. So these telling does something. Manager game timed. I think there's something interesting here in a timed manager game where the clock counts down and so you're rushing to do something. I mean, that's basically just Overcooked, right? You're managing a kitchen, but the time is running out, so you have to try and rush around and fulfill the orders. I think these are they're still the two strongest ideas that are maybe within scope. This one, I'm not sure if it's within scope. Because I think that so much time will be spent just making the monster feel scary that I don't know if I have time to like actually design a good level and do all those things. This one seems very doable. So let's expand on Balcony Garden Manager. Second, what would you call that? Like, it's like when, you know, Netflix these days is designing films to be second screen activity. So where you're looking at your YouTube shorts and you watch the film at the same time. There's a second screen experience. I want that with like a game. Second screen experience. Which does obviously then greatly simplify the game. I mean that's a benefit for the timeline development. Second screen experience. What is the fun? The fun is seeing your garden get pretty. Is the fun the choices you make? Or is there like a end complete state that is, oh, that's the best possible garden? The problem is I haven't really played these kind of games. I'm not someone that has a second screen game up the entire time. So I think that's the key thing that's going to make it not the core game idea that I go with, because I just don't have experience with it. Is there another twist on shooter that I can do? Because I do love a shooter. I've got a lot of hours in Counter-Strike. And I enjoy a shooter. I only really enjoy multiplayer shooters, to be honest, when I think about it. Is there a twist somewhere that I can do that I think is cool. Shooter. I don't think that I mean, I can't go down the route of just like shooter, but it's also this because that just adds dead time. I think it's not clear. You know, like the Division was looter shooter, right? It's like it's shooter, but you also have to loot and survive. Extraction shooters were like shooters, but it's also roguelike. Oh, that was the word I was thinking of, roguelike. Roguelite. Shooter. Rhythm shooter. Stealth shooter. I guess like feel good hordes of enemy shooter is just Doom, which I said I wasn't going to make 5 times, even though I think vehemently saying that is not helping anyone. If you make it a super precision shooter like Counter-Strike, what's the benefit of that if it's a single player game? If it's a single player experience, you want it to just feel good. So maybe rhythm shooter is better. Oh no. Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna leave this for a moment. I think maybe we should lean into the humor satisfaction part. I enjoy writing. I enjoy writing funny characters and interesting characters. And it's somewhere that you can take not very much dev time. So what's something that's a bit character focused? You know, none of these ideas really have story or character in them. Maybe except Shop Sim with a humor twist. Is there like mailman for something? Oh, there's a game idea I had like a year ago that I tried making, or 2 years, maybe longer, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. It was like a mailman, intergalactic mailman puzzle game where you had like pretty simple puzzles with like portals and boxes you picked up and moved and stuff. And you'd meet funny characters along the way. Interdimensional mailman. Interdimensional. There we go. I think that there's something funny there. That's maybe leaning towards the management style. So rather than you press like WSD to move around to deliver the mail, is there like a mail management route game where we design this city and you have to get around, and every however long time passes you get like a new set of things that need to be delivered, and so you have to figure out your route, and then it's satisfying seeing that all happen correctly, and we figure out some interesting world twist rather than just having a normal city. Like, does the city have portals or something? I don't know. I think there's something there. I think the aesthetic of Mailman is quite cute and funny. So I think there's something there. I think there's definitely something in there in the concept of mail. So let's write down those things. We've got the manager style mail route optimizations. I don't know if that's really that fun, but it's an idea. Silly characters and stories whilst delivering mail. That's another avenue to pursue, is like maybe it's more about the stories you have, and so you go between these homes and one of them has like a barking dog. Maybe it is a little bit more like Untitled Goose Game kind of style of moving about and having to interact with things in weird ways to deliver the mail. Oh, what if it's like snail mail and you're just playing as a snail who delivers mail to other like creepy crawlies and things? What if there's like a micro universe of like a garden and you're a snail and you're the mailman and you have to take mail to these different places and you have to like move things around, interact with things and do something. That's quite funny. I do quite like that idea. Snail mail. But it feels like something someone would have made. Let's see. Snail mail. Yeah. Feels like something someone would have done. Let's see what it is. 2025 development. No user reviews. Yeah. This is not a game that I feel threatened by. But it means I can't call the game Snail Mail, which is sad because that's a fucking great name for a game. I saw this game somewhere. Cozy Grove. Oh yeah. I remember seeing this. Snail Mail is kind of leaning into that cozy vibe as well, which is not a bad vibe to lean into. A lot of people like that. Maybe Snail Mail is not a good one because I can't call it Snail Mail because there's another game called Snail Mail. Maybe I'd be like lean into the cozy vibe and do like My Garden Mailman or something like that. I like the idea of this micro space because it gives the vibe of like the what was that game? I can't remember what it's called. But the game where you like play in a like a small, you're like miniaturized, and you're in this garden. And there's like giant spiders and whatever. But that's more first-person action survival, right? Whereas it's more narrative based. Mail. Mail aesthetic. Snail mail. But is there something funnier than snail mail in that mail aesthetic? Oh, but I think if I make this game, I'm just gonna get the what's it called when you say a word too often? Called when you say something too much and the word loses meaning. Semantic satiation. Maybe semantic satiation, sure. But when like if I have the male one, I'm gonna keep saying male, 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 and then I'm thinking like male gender or chain mail. But is that funny? Could I do something with that? The fact that this word means different things. I've got your mail, sir. No, that's not mail, that's mail. I know you asked for the mail. No. I don't know. I think that's just stupid. I think that's just me being stupid. Mail. Mail. Snail mail. I think the idea I had like 4 years ago was called like International Delivery Man for Justice. And I thought that was really funny at the time. Do I still think it's funny? I think it's not funny. But I think that the puzzles I designed were really bad. And I didn't make a good puzzle game. And that's the kind of key thing when you're making a puzzle game is having fun puzzles. Yeah. I don't know if anything's there. The male aesthetic is still there. I still like this idea. The top. I think the manager route is bad. I think we just can bin this one. I think there's something in these three that could be a game. Could be a game. Could be a game. I can imagine like you rocking up to some talking pigeons and they're doing their thing and they're making silly noises. Um But is that what I want to make? I don't think so. I mean, I kind of want to avoid puzzle games. I just spent the last 8 years making one. Let's make something different. I want to explore combat and action. Well, the snail. I mean, maybe there's like a first-person action game where you play as a mailman beating off enemies to go deliver mail. I don't know. There's something there, is probably, but I think that's more of just a aesthetic twist. I think that it's not hooky enough. I think it's not hooky enough. Just doing a standard hack and slash or standard side scroller, but with a slight aesthetic interest. I think I want something that's more ludically interesting than that, which is hard. Not an easy thing to do. I'm gonna keep looking through my old things because, yeah, I did like this. Yeah, this game. I don't know why all my games have long names. Yeah, I did really like this idea. And I wonder if I could do it on a smaller dev time by simplifying. That game. So that game, which I think is kind of funny, is the idea of like a series of unfortunate events kind of vibe, where it's basically Groundhog Day. Groundhog Day. It's let's get some text. Roguelike. So the day restarts every time until you get an outcome you like. Roguelike. Day restarts. Yeah. And then the other key element to it, so the day restarts, it's a roguelike, but also you have multiple endings. There's lots of ways that the day can end. And the high concept pitch is you enter a village and some calamity happens and you have to try and make your way out. You can do this in a number of ways. These involve funny outcomes and interesting combinations of actions to create a replayable space. Is replayable not a word? It's a hyphen. So the game idea concept is you're a stranger who walks into like a medieval village, or it could be whatever aesthetic we want really, and you get arrested, or bandits arrive, or an earthquake happens, or something happens that shakes up the town. A murder happens, let's say, and you get arrested for the murder. And then suddenly you've got the ability to find a way out of that situation through choosing different things, like talking to people, or killing someone, or stealing something, or like the problem with that game idea is the breadth of actions is quite big, so the interactions would have to be really simple. And originally there was much more like survival elements, and like you'd go to sleep and it would take multiple weeks for this event to happen. But I think doing something simple where like it's one day and you start in an awful situation where you walk into the town and you get arrested, and then you have to like get your way out of that. And there's different ways to do that create different endings. That's the key thing, is that there's replayability because you want to see like, oh, what happens if I did that instead of that, and just making it silly and fun. Let me look up a game. What was the side scroller game that was medieval art style and funny? Was it? No, it wasn't that. What was it called?
I don't think.
Procession to. No. Didn't copy the right fucking thing. I think it was called this, based on what I just looked up. Procession to. Yeah, this game. This kind of vibe. Not aesthetically this vibe, but the idea of like just going through this wacky story with wacky stuff going on, and you have the ability to make different decisions that cause things to be funny. And this one was more of like, I think it was more like a linear story that you followed, and you had to always click like the right thing. The interaction was very simple. But I think there's something there where it's like a little isometric world, and you walk into the town and there's buildings about, and then let's say you walk into town, there's a dead body on the floor, and it's early in the morning, and then the guard comes along and arrests you, and then you have the first choice: do I fight or do I do that? Maybe we, but I'm wondering, like, do you add elements of randomness to that? You know, do you have dice rolls suddenly so that different playthroughs can create different outcomes based also on the roll? Like, is it funny to go, I'm gonna try and talk my way out of every situation and try and get lucky with a dice roll? I think this is funny. I think this could be funny. I think let's explore this idea. There's quite a lot of design work that had to go into this, which is fine because design work doesn't require any technical skills really. Just requires having a brain and thinking. Which I'm very good at. Okay, I'm gonna grab a glass of water. One sec. We're gonna rebel. Yeah. Water's for nerds. Have some Red Bull. Gives you wings and brain power. Ah. The new Red Bull flavors taste great. I love them. I never liked Red Bull in the past, but these new flavors are great. This is the June berry. Love it. Okay. So the elevator pitch is you walk into a village, some calamity happens. I think the specifics of the story doesn't really matter yet, but like, what are the actions that we think are fun? Sure, roll up, but like, what does the player actually do? I think there's got to be like a interact system where you can go up, press E on something, and it'll have like a little thing that maybe gives you some hint of what it will do. Like, let's say you walk up to the sleeping homeless person. You have E that might say like offer succor, or maybe E says like kick or whatever. Ugh, sounding pretty horrible and morbid already, this game. Making this something funny in there. Interact system, which has soft feedback. Don't know exactly what you will do or what will happen. Talking system. Some simple multi-choice talking. And then another idea was the randomization dice roll / coin flip. I don't know really if we need to have more than these two things. You can walk up to stuff and interact with it. You can walk around and enter spaces which will have reactions. You can talk to people. I guess we need to figure out if, like, when you talk to someone, are you forced into that conversation sometimes? Is that what happens sometimes when you interact with someone? I think that to keep it simple, the talking system or action system should be something like you press E, you get two options, and then each option has a positive and negative outcome. So when you select it, you then get a coin flip or like a dice roll. So it's like if you have like talk to you get arrested, and then you can press E to talk to the guard, and there are two options when you talk to the guard, which is like admit guilt or beg for freedom. And those two options have like a beg for freedom 50% or admit guilt, which is like an easy one. Like it's like a 80% chance that the expected outcome happens, or like success outcome. Like, what's the success outcome of like pleading guilt? I don't know. But what I don't want is any crazy branching of narratives. It's got to be pretty self-contained. It's got to be pretty designed and guided, the options that could happen. Otherwise, the game just becomes too big for me to make, ever, let alone within 2 months. But this idea does have my like mind spinning with funny situations that could happen. And I think if you make the scope small enough, like the kind of idea like that someone could buy this game for £2, open it up, have a funny time for 30 minutes to an hour, and be like, well, that was a worthwhile bit of my time. That was fun. I'm gonna see what else this person does or something. So I think there's something in there. Okay, let's expand the idea, because nothing can be designed or built until we have some specifics. I think that starting with you getting arrested leads you down a path too quickly. What if it's discovering a dead body, or the first action is, or maybe it is more open-ended. Maybe it's walk into town and there is a and you can just do anything. Like, and you might end up getting arrested for killing someone, but you might also save the town from the bandits that come at the end of the day. You know, I don't know what the win state is. I guess there is a win state. There's multiple endings, and you have a little fun narrative at the end of each ending, being like, "This is what happened." In which case, it's not really Groundhog Day because you're not dying and then starting again, or failing and starting again until you get the correct outcome. It's just you can play it as many times as you want to see how many outcomes there might be. But I don't know how probability and chance and number of actions that you can take will exponentially make this an untenable thing. So the player, what they do is they interact with stuff and they can talk to people. There's no action combat. There's no interact system, talking system, interacting, don't say system, talking, and make choices. That's the fun part, is making the choice. In which case, the interact system being that like soft, don't know what's going to happen, isn't fun. Because if you're trying to make it about making choices, the fun is about, oh, this, I'm going to do this. I wonder what's going to happen. So maybe every choice has a chance. I think this is nice. I think this could work. So the key thing that players do is let's cut this. So get away from it. You enter the village and look upon the dawn of a new day in your life. It's roguelike. Randomization, I like. Explore the village and discover the different paths to different endings and funny outcomes. So I think that there needs to be some kind of precedent to something terrible is going to happen at the end of the day. And I like the idea of bandits. Bandits are on their way to the town and everyone is worried. Messenger arrives just after you. So you arrive at the town and you enter and you get this and you enter this state of, oh, something's going to happen. There's bandits on the way, and you've now got the choice to try and help, to try and get away, try and do something completely different, try and, I don't know, join the bandits maybe, maybe go to the church and pray and try and get out of it that way. I don't know. Maybe there's ways where like you can get God to smite down the bandits with a lightning if you give in the right offerings or something. I don't know. And the fun comes from replayability. Replayability, randomization, and multiple endings. So then if we create, we can get rid of this then. If we say this is now my old game idea, which was called Life of Morrow Higgs. That was the original game idea, so we'll call it that for the moment. Actions and mechanics. Let's change this color to a different color. So if we have actions and mechanics, the actions are going to be making choices. And what I have for the idea for that is like, whenever you're in a conversation or in the world, you make a choice, everything pauses, and you have to like shake and roll a die or two die, or depending on the chance, maybe it's different sided, and you see that like roll out into the world and maybe like bounce around like the environment. I think that could be really funny. Like imagine you're like a god controlling this situation, and you just roll the die onto the table, it rolls around, and then it shows the number, and then it shows the number, and then fades out, and then you see the result of what happens. I don't know if this sounds like a 2-month game design, but maybe if we limit the scope enough, it could be funny. Yeah, not sure if this is sounding doable, but let's carry on, because this is the idea that I've been most interested in so far. So let's carry on. Making choices which have two outcomes unseen by player but inferred that if it's always two outcomes, do I need a dice roll, or is it like success, not success, chance, or because I think that whether it's dice roll or coin flip or something, inferred with a chance built in. Like if you imagine make it friend slot, I mean that is the recommended thing, but I don't have the bandwidth right now for multiplayer. So multiplayer maybe next game, but for the moment let's keep a single player. So I'm just gonna try and make it funny. Like if you have like, imagine your screen, like when you make a choice, you have like the two options like this. You select one, and then the choice will have like the option will have like do a thing like 1 out of 6, or do this, which has a 1 out of 2 chance. And then depending on what you select, different things will happen on the screen. Like I like the idea of a massive die falling from the sky and rolling around the isometric environment until it lands somewhere. And then you go, oh, it's a perfect 6. I think it needs to be a consistent thing. I think doing 1 out of 2, 1 out of 2, I think you should have like a I think it should be like, I think a die is the most funny, and so you should have like a required score for it to be successful. Then so that means that every choice a player makes, or no, every interaction a player has how many different outcomes? So it's 4 outcomes for every single action. So every time I design a thing in the game that the player can interact with, that in that moment has 4 outcomes. So it's not going to be like, I mean, that sounds like quite a lot. Because what if you have like a conversation with even a conversation with like multiple, like 2 steps suddenly gets to like 16 outcomes or something. Yeah. So, and is there an inferred success? So if I imagine like this thing, let's say you have the I can't go back any further. You have these 2 actions. I think I need a fucking smaller pen. Let's just start again. So if you have your screen, if it's always replayed, then every run should be able to collect things that alter future runs. So I was thinking about, like, is it roguelike or roguelite? And I'm not sure which one is better right now. Because I do think that, I mean, for my vision of like a game that can be satisfyingly completed in like 30 minutes to an hour, I don't know if I need to have the concept of like building a build or having new options next time you play. I think at most it's light, but I think honestly just the joy should be from seeing the experience and getting your outcome, and then if you want to play again to get a different outcome and try different things, you can. But I don't think I want to make it encouraged design-wise to make the player want to replay it over and over and over and over again to build out their options. Like, I think that every pathway should be possible the first time you play. Because what you're saying, right, is like, if you take this pathway and you get the dagger, the next time you play you have the dagger, and that allows you to take a different pathway. Because here, you don't have the dagger yet, so you can't kill the person. But if you go a different route, you get the dagger. And then when you come back next time to get to here... Okay, let's see. So, design-wise, you have the timeline, and here you can choose to kill a person, but the chance to kill them is really, really low because you don't have a dagger. So you fail, and then later on, you get the dagger and finish this storyline. The next time you come down this storyline, you have the dagger, so you're higher chance to succeed or something like that. I mean, that makes sense ludically and design-wise, but I don't know if I think it's the right direction for this experience, you know? I think what would be better is everything is possible from the first time you play, and the fun in replayability is just like seeing different outcomes. And if that means that people are less likely to replay and maybe play once or twice just because it's a funny game, that's fine. But I think the added complexity is going to increase development time further than the possible playtime. Yes, that's what I'm thinking in my head. I think that if we include replayability in the form of roguelite, you're opening yourself to people expecting it to be more replayable than it really needs to be. Anyway, let's get back to the design of the main mechanic. So you have your little person who goes up to something and you press E and interact with it. You then get two options, which will be like, let's say you've interacted with the guard. You have like with two designed options, which is like, I don't know, it's hard to think of an example because I haven't got any idea of what the aim of the story is yet. But you have option one that says, but every option should have an implied success state and fail state. Inferred. It should be like stab guard or bribe guard to try and get into a building. There should be a guard at a building, and your interaction with the guard is to see the options, and there's probably like a cancel button, right, where you say cancel interaction, and maybe some interactions you can't cancel, like, you know, so some of them you have to go into interacting with it without knowing necessarily if you can cancel or not. That could be kind of cool. So let's say you require, yeah, with a dice roll, if you've got a dice, you've got 6 sides. This is my incredible 3D box. if we said like 3 out of 6, or like required roll is like a 3 for it to succeed, required roll is 6. Like let's say stab guard is a 6 and bribe guard is a 3. Yeah, I definitely think that you need an inventory. You definitely need an inventory of things. I'm thinking that you can go around and collect and try and steal to use. And it might be that some actions are locked without a certain item. So maybe stab guard is padlocked until you have a dagger, and bribe guard is padlocked until you have a coin, and then the number of coins you have increases or decreases the chance of that succeeding. So let's say you have 1 coin, you require a 6 roll to get in, but if you have 1 coin, it's a 6, but if you have 5 coins, but then it starts getting very complicated, because like, what if I want to give the player the ability to choose how many coins? Maybe it goes down to like a 2 roll. That could be kind of cool. Let's say you have like a bribe guard as an action, and then you have like a little up and down arrow that says like 1 coin, and you up to your max 5 coins. That decreases the chance. It's suddenly getting quite complicated, this game. Okay, I need to pee, 1 sec. Oh, thank you, random Twitch viewer. That is definitely not a bot. I need to figure out how to get the. Oh no, all that. How do I get into the? 1 second, sorry. I need to get into the Twitch chat properly. Channel. Muted. Mod view. Here we go. Right. Okay. Great. Okay. Sort that out now. Right. Okay, let's get back onto the screen. So, I think we should limit any action to maximum 2 choices. Well, technically speaking, there's a maximum of 3 choices. There's do thing A, there's do thing B, and there's leave, which is thing C. There's 3 choices to every action. The better the weapon, the lower the roll you need to kill. Sword of 1,000 Truths. Yeah. I think that's cool. And it might be that you get to choose that. Like, is the Sword of Truth consumed by using it? So here you have an arrow and it says Sword of Truth. Okay, that's a 0. 100%. No matter what you roll, it will work. or if you use a spoon, you need a 6. But this time you haven't wasted your Sword of Truth on the guard. You've wasted your spoon. Because some things definitely, well, we can. I guess that's a inside of the data of a choice. You have like, it uses an item or it uses gold. Is that thing consumed or not consumed? Like, there's definitely data points that need to be inside that. This action needs to know some things. So you have 3 choices to every action, and A and B have 2 outcomes. A success outcome and a fail outcome. Success outcome, fail outcome. And option C is just C for cancel. C for cancel, everyone. So, actions and mechanics. You make choices. Choices have a success and fail with a chance depending on factors. We will go into the specifics of factors later, which is like item used. It's just item used? I think it's just item used. Yeah. Yeah, I actually really like this. I think it gives scope for funny writing. The interactions and visual feedback can be quite simple. I think there are asset packs that would allow me to make this in a nice cohesive way. Let's review what we have right now back to our non-negotiables and ideas and concepts. It has a little bit of simulation because the actions that we do will have to make changes to the world. I think it's good for humor. I think it's good for replayable content. I think it's not hitting multiplayer, it's not hitting action combat, it could hit strong aesthetic. That's just a general thing. And I don't know if it's really hitting satisfaction, because there's not like I've organised all these things to come together. Now, the number one thing here was hooky idea. And I'm not sure if it's a hooky idea. I think it takes too long to explain why it's interesting. But I think if we can I think by making the aesthetic all about the dice roll, the big die that comes onto the screen and rolls around the world, I think if you make that really visually interesting and cool, I think that the hooky idea does work. I think it will work. So maybe it is hooky. It is hooky enough. 2 months dev time, well, that's just depending on scope and how many options I make and how long I make the day experience, which is hopefully something I can do. Hopefully I can make that more enough. Cool. Okay. Let's keep designing. We've got... Oh, can I just drag that away a little bit? Thank you, thank you, thank you. The Life of Morrow Higgs. I don't know where the name Morrow Higgs came from, but that's whatever my brain came up with all that time ago. So, the first action in mechanics is make choices. Choices have a success and fail. Success and fail. Choices can require items, can be locked due to lacking something. Choices can be locked. I think that's the first place to start. They can be locked, I think, for 2 reasons. One, blueprints. I think I've heard of that. Maybe I should add this to my wish list as well. I think this is a good game. Add to wish list. Blueprints.
An empty blueprint represents a world.
Yeah, I remember seeing this. Okay. Just. I wanna do some game nights where we play some games and get inspired and things. Choices can be locked. I think. Let's just get a quick text. Locking does not hide the choice, just stops player from selecting it. Lock can be due to past choices made. Lock can be due to lacking some item, gold, or situation. So, for example, like if you stab the guard, you don't have the choice to like do something else in the future. Or maybe if you bribe the guard, you can't do something else in the future, or whatever it might be. Like, let's say you've done something to change the world in some way that might lock off certain choices later on. Choice of a success and fail. This is displayed as a required dice roll. Shows the roll as a massive die dropped into the 3D space. I think that's funny. I think that could be a really hooky visual element that sells the whole concept of all these choices and there's stuff going on and things. Actions and mechanics. Make choices. Then the next big action or mechanic is make choices. Just they have thing. Choices. Can have editable chances. By editing what you use or what you spend, you can increase or decrease the chance of success. I think that even if I decide that items are not necessarily consumed, I think you should still have a choice. Let's say you have the Sword of Truth and you have the soup spoon and you have dull dagger. I think even in the situation where you stab the guard, you should have the choice of those three things, because it could create funny situations where like someone does a playthrough where they're like, I'm going to murder everyone in the village with only the spoon, and they shouldn't limit their options of choice just based on the fact that they accidentally picked up the Sword of Truth, whatever. Yeah, I think I like the fact that you can change it, even if that doesn't necessarily make that much ludic sense. All these can be short, actually. Let's just simplify this. Past choices made. Lacking some item. Editing what you use, you can, yep. And then the next thing is collect items. I think that I just keep it as simple as possible. Just add to unlimited inventory, which gives you more choice options and variable chances. I think that when you collect something, I don't think we want to start be dealing with encumbered or what, or like limiting. Oh, you've already got one shoulder pad of truth, you can't get another shoulder pad of lies or whatever. The question is collecting items part of a choice? Like, I guess items are always kept in a container. So, for example, the Sword of Truth might be on a rack. More favorable role. I think I don't want to do branching choices where like you try to give them ale, that fails, so you then do that one. I think each time you interact with something, you have two choices, and those two choices end the interaction one way or another. And maybe you can then sometimes you can re-interact. So with the guard, you interact, you have maybe like odds of succeeding are very, very small. Well, the whole point of it is that there's not a succeed. There's just different endings. I don't think I want the player to have like a, oh, you need to kill the monster. Or you need to do whatever it is. I think there should be a multitude of endings, and if you get unlucky, you just get one that goes really badly for you, or whatever. But I do see what you mean about like if you either lock a choice after getting a fail state or something else like that. Like the chance gets. If you get one unlucky roll, how much does that lock off? Like, let's say we fail to stab the guard. Is that just game over? Does he kill us? Or does he arrest us? You see, it starts getting more more interesting. But I think what I don't want is, let's say in this branching situation, you interact with the guard, you have bribe or stab. If you bribe and it fails, then you get, when you next interact with the guard, you get a different option. I think it should always be the same two options every time you interact with something. It's just sometimes they're locked due to things having happened or things not having happened. In which case you go, oh, I can't do that, I wonder why. I just think that that's cleaner. I don't think I want it to be like hidden behind multiple choice or branching choices or something. I think that starts becoming too much, especially for the dev timeline I'm looking at. I wanted to kill everyone with a spoon, I need to roll 6 multiple times, which constitutes a very small chance. Yeah. But maybe there's a different way you can increase your chance. Like, what if you bribe the guard with lots and lots of money first, and then you, yeah. Then he buys ale with it, and then he's asleep, and so the chance of killing with a spoon then goes to like a 100% chance, or like a 2. It requires a 2 rather than a 6. Yeah. So maybe then in that situation, choices do have to have change. Like they do have to change. So let's say you walk up to the door. See, already like we're talking about one single interaction, and it's already like branching into like all these different fucking things. This game is going to be a nightmare to like data manage whatever all the choices can be, but I think it's doable with the correct system design. Okay, so you have A, which is kill him, stab him. You have B, which is bribe him. If you fail to bribe him, maybe you just like nothing changes. Like it just fails to bribe. You can maybe try and spend more. I don't know. Or maybe if you fail or succeed to bribe him, this then changes the choice the choice changes based on. Oh, but then I'm doing exactly what I said I didn't want to do, which is having like 2 more, which then have another 2 more. Which then have another 2 more, which then have another 2 more, which then have another 2 more. Yeah, that's what I wanted to avoid. But is there a way? I think you have to set the rules and be like, what is fun in that situation? And maybe to make it fun, you have it so bribing him gets him drunk, which then changes the chances. So you don't have to bribe him and then think about giving him the beer. With the money you bribe him, he buys beer. No matter what. Kind of thing. Maybe depending on how much money you bribe him, he gets drunk or less drunk. If you bribe him with 1 coin and get a lucky roll, he doesn't get very drunk. So later on, if you have to kill him, it's still quite hard to kill him. But if you bribe him with loads of gold, he gets more drunk. So there's still choice and different outcomes from what you choose to do in your choice, but it's not necessarily branching in terms of the display to the player. So maybe we need to think about another part of choices. Choices can be repeatable or single use. So, example. Yeah, maybe when you interact with him, the interaction is called the alcoholic guard. So he has no money, so he's not drunk. If you give him money, he'll be drunk because he's called the alcoholic guard. Yeah, it should all be implied. I don't think I want to have like traits or stats. It should be all implied in their aesthetic and their description. Choices can be repeatable or single use. Because not every choice you should be able to do again and again and again, right? Like if you bribe him once, do you have to bribe him again next time you go in? Or if you bribe him once, that means you have access to that door forever? I don't know. I guess that's maybe dependent on that choice. Aye. Okay. Yeah. I think this example, I've got a clear understanding of how that would work, and that makes sense to me. But then, let's think about items, collecting them. Because at the moment we've basically got 2 things, which is collecting items and making choices. And I don't really know if we need any more actions than those 2. I think that those are basically the 2 mechanics. Everything else is I've got to think about the story and all the possible actions, what can be funny and what can be reusable. So I think all items are in a container with 2 choices, take or leave. Maybe. Because I think there should be chances, like, if something's... Okay, let's look at a few different examples of that. We've got a... How would it work with a crate, a lockbox, and a sword on the wall? We've got a sword on the wall, a lockbox, and a crate. What would those choices look like? With this one, it's probably like open crate, take, not take. Take, leave. Here, it's probably interact with, but then leave is the same as cancel. So is that really 2 options with that? Maybe some things only have 1 choice, or 2 choices, which is like this, which is take, or cancel. And this one maybe has unlock or like pick lock. So whilst every interaction only has 2 choices plus a cancel, maximum 2 choices plus cancel, some can have 1, and some maybe change depending on their state. So here you get 2 choices, which is pick the lock or use the key, but the key is a locked option until you have the key. Maybe even the pick the lock is locked option until you have a lock pick, you know? Or maybe it's like a... Should we add the concept of multiple die? Should it be like a 1 in 12 chance if you have no lockpick, but then like a 1 in 6 if you have rusted needle, and then it's like a 5 out of 6 if you have lockpicking tools. Is that funnier? Is that more interesting? Maybe. I'm going to leave that thought for the moment. Back onto the lockbox. You have like take, and you have like pick lock or another option, which is like use key, but that's locked and that's open. And let's say then you get the lockbox and you succeed. So then the next time you interact with the now open lockbox, the unlocked lockbox, maybe then suddenly get 2 new options, which is like lock with key or take whatever's inside, whatever we say that is. I think containers should only have 1 thing. I think the choices should still be like this or that. So just to keep the interactions nice and simple. I think if you start having like interact with crate and it opens up an inventory page of like chung 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 chung, and it's like, do you want to take this? Do you want to take this? Do you want to take this? I think just keep it simple and make sure that the things you get through these decisions are actually impactful. Love you too, Oscar. See you in a bit. Say hello to Lucas from me. Yeah. Okay, let's note this down. Choices have a success and fail. So I guess the last thing is the last actions and mechanics. Oh yeah, this is already getting fucking complicated. The last of these is going to be interact, and some interactions can be one can be locked or leavable. Interactions can be locked or leavable. Interactions can have 1 or 2 choices. Don't need to have. So that's 2 different variations. Like, so we got this one that has a 1 option, 1 choice plus leave, or it could be 1 choice with no leave. So like you have to try and do the thing. So let's say maybe towards the end of the game you have like a confront the bandits, you might have two choices that are locked because you confront the bandits. You can't just walk away from them. But like a leave is a so let's note this down. Leaving an action is 100% success, but not available to all interactions. Testing my fucking spelling right now. So I'm not necessarily available to all interactions. This should be 2 points. Leaving action is 100% success. Not available to all interactions. And maybe some interactions have one of their choices being leave, and that leave then has a success or fail rate. Like, it wouldn't just be called leave, because the cancel interaction. Cancel interact is 100% success. Can I please get but not all interactions can be cancelled. There we go. There we go. That's how to get around being bad at spelling, is you just one or two choices. Must have at least one choice. I don't think you see that. So all items are in a container with two choices: take or leave. Not necessarily take or leave. All items are in a container. That's enough information for this point. We're trying to set up the rules of these actions and mechanics. Like, what is the high level framework for these interactions? What are the features that need to be in them? So I can start building out a plan for how to design and code this game. All items are in a container, and then the points there are like, because like there'll be I wonder what the best way to actually, let's not start thinking about code structure yet. Let's think about design still. I think I'm getting close to the point where I should start, because this seems simple to me. This seems to make sense to me. I like this. I think I need to start thinking about what is the game. Let's try and figure out a fun set of things that could happen, or a fun environment that could have things that happen in it. I think that will help me decide whether it's one thing or another. Yeah. Okay, so everything here can be moved across. Game pitches can be moved way out the way. The non-negotiables, ideas, and concepts is still useful for future things and for referencing back. Maybe ideas and concepts also can come up here. The non-negotiables, I think we should be referring back to these as we design this, being like, do we still think that this game fulfills these things? The one that's already I'm not sure about is short gameplay loop and 2 months of time. I think those two are struggling, but we'll see. I think minimal. I think I'm cool. I find the moral design interesting. I think that it is a game that I would like people to like. I think that the minimal new skills required is true. I think that these things make sense. I think that there maybe the code structure is a little bit more complicated than I was expecting. But yeah. Okay. Okay. What's our story? I like the basis of stranger walks into village. What are the things in a medieval village that could be fun to interact with? It could create interesting situations. I like the whole bandits are on their way. I think that it's a very simple, understandable thing that could be dealt with in a few silly ways. Like, do you band the town together into a militia and fight them? Like, because I think that the end of the game should give you like a little mini story about what happened. So like, if you band the town together, you don't see the battle necessarily, but you might get a little epilogue about how everyone died because they all banded together, but they didn't have enough swords, or they all banded together, but then maybe you have a version where you did do those things and it does work. Or maybe there's one where like you got arrested for murdering someone, so you're stuck in jail at the end of the day. So is it timed? Is there a live timer to this stuff happening? Is there like a... If it is Groundhog Day, is there a clock? Is it turn-based? I think when you're inside of a choice, time freezes. When you're moving around doing stuff, time progresses. I like that idea, honestly. If it's timed, you have to like rush through doing things. But then when you're in your choice point, you can stop and think and really think about the outcomes. And that might make the interactions that lock you more interesting. Because what if you rush into interacting with the guard, but he doesn't let you just walk off? Yeah, I can see that working. So, we've got to make this village interesting and cool. So that's like an actor in the game, right? The village. What are things that could be in the village? We've got the inn, the church. I think we have the witch's house. I think I like the idea of you being able to go and like learn a spell and then use that spell for something. We probably have the garrison. We probably have some farms. I think I also like the idea of you being able to do something stupid, like going out and helping a farmer with his hapless, like bickering with the neighbouring farmer, and you could do one playthrough where you choose one side, another playthrough where you choose another side. It's a bit of exploration, off the beaten track. I'll say I need some water. The throat's getting dry. The Red Bull is great though. I love this flavour. Okay. Witch's house, some farms, the inn, the church, the garrison. Of course, then we have the bandits camp. You know, they're camping outside the town, getting ready to attack. Maybe you can go and persuade them not to attack, or maybe you can go cast a magical fireball upon them if you get really lucky and do all the right things to bribe the witch's house to give you a spell. I guess we also need to think about the village, and then we also think about what endings are we trying to get towards, and what are some pathways to that, and how can those interconnect in interesting ways. Okay. The garrison, the inn, farms, the witch's house, bandits camp, church. I also need to think about what level of I guess more visual feedback the better, but we've got to make sure that whatever we do with the visual feedback in the game, that we can be consistent. I don't want like some interactions to look incredibly unique and special and cool, and then others to be a bloody nightmare. Like just like and this happened off screen. I think there needs to be consistency. So I guess the other mechanic is going to need to be inside, outside, or like we'll name this as like world interactions, and that is like time passage, enter buildings. Like these are all features that we need to make sure that the game has. Otherwise, it won't feel like a remotely useful world or interesting world. Are there any other things that could be in the village? Is there an apothecary? Is that interesting? I don't think so. Yeah, the inn, the garage, church, houses. I think maybe like one kind of a shop or market. The general store. I think it makes sense that there would be one. What interesting things you can do there? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you can go and buy something or try and steal something, and that changes things. So, subsections of the things. In the garrison, there will be weapons. There will be let's make these much smaller. There will be weapons. There will be soldiers. There will be what else would you interact with in the garrison? Training ground. Like maybe you can like challenge someone to a duel of honor. Okay, in the inn, there's definitely going to be prostitute. There's going to be booze. There's going to be food. General store. I don't know what I could find at the general store. Bandits camp. Witch's hut. Spells. Slash something magical. And maybe in the village generally there should be another section of like loose stuff. I think it'd be fun like if you could like chase and befriend a cat. Dog. You know, maybe there's a story where you've One thing, I'm going to write a message. Dog, and then there's like, you know, the local, what do you call, what's like a medieval word for a homeless person? Maybe like tramp. I don't know. Local homeless. Maybe there's like the noble's house. Noble's house. You can like attend a dinner or something. I don't know. I'm gonna keep it simple. Farm A, Farm B. I think there should be two farms that have similar things on them, but they're in a feud. That's a funny story. My mother's watching the YouTube, and she just texted me that I needed something. And I was like, "What?" She said I need a moneylender, and I was like, "What, in real life?" But she's not here. Yeah, we've got like the banking house or moneylender. Well, I guess that. Do we want the money? I would guess we want like in the inn. Maybe there's like a loan shark. Loan shark. Maybe you can fall into debt with someone in the game. And that's not good for you. That gives you more places to steal money as well. Okay, I think the bandits' camp should be off to the side because that's not really in the village. Farm A, Farm B, Nova's house. Yeah. That all kind of checks out for me. Yeah, thanks, mother, for joining right when I said prostitute. That's perfect timing. Reminds me of my days as a child playing Grand Theft Auto. Misspent youth. This game's not feeling particularly small. They'll have a smithy, yeah. But is there anything interesting to do at the smithy? I mean, maybe you can get weapons instead of the garrison. Maybe that's an alternate method to do things. Maybe the smithy is instead of the general store, because I haven't had any good ideas for the general store. Smithy. That's another way to get weapons. I don't know what else you would do at the smithy. Maybe you like need to bribe the smithy to do something for you or something. I don't know. There's definitely some combo interactions I can see with the smithy. Like you need him to make you something, so you need to either try and buy it or like bribe him or something. Maybe the church needs a new iron door. Yeah, farm tools, not a bad idea. Farm tools to help the farmer. Okay, bye-bye. Thanks for stopping by, mother. Okay. Yeah. This is all kind of making... let's put my music back on now. Some random low file sound. I think the GDD is going to be quite big with just all the different interactions. I think that I need to make sure that I keep the choices properly simple. Because I'm just imagining like the list of number outcomes that need to happen. All the different choices. But I can also see how the game is quite scalable. Like if like you can easily do this where you have a really expansive world and like have multiple levels of different stages of this person's life, and they're going through all these things, and it remembers things that you did from a long time ago. But I'm just going to keep it like a very small, one-day thing. So if I want one day from you arriving at dawn to the village to leaving the village. Oh, of course. Of course. I mean, how am I so stupid? How am I so stupid? In the inn? Gambling. Gambling. I mean, the whole game is about rolling a big die. Like, how have I not thought of having a gambling table? That's so stupid. Yeah. I think general store is not interesting. I think bin that. I think there's no one interesting at general store. I think the general store, I think you can get everything from the general store in the inn. Maybe there's like a daughter that you can go Romeo Juliet, and then there's the noble leader of the village who might be the one that tells a garrison to let you lead them into battle if you like bring favor with the noble, or you can like ruin that by trying to bed his daughter. And there's like various things you can do by befriending the cat or the dog. Maybe if you befriend the cat, that gives you something that means that you can make the witches happy because the witches like the cat, but maybe the farmers like the dog, or the nobles like the dog, or something. Yeah, I can see lots of interplay here. I think church is fun. I think we've got the priest and some kind of godly power you can obtain. And there should be some funny thing with like, if you like interact with the altar, you can pray and pray and pray and pray and pray and pray and pray, and it does nothing. But you can also give offering of coin, and if you give enough coin, like the bandits get smitten or something, you know. I love a little bit of parody and fun. Yeah, I can see that working. I can also see how different actions will be lost. Like maybe if you pray once at the altar, you can't make friends with the witches, or it's hard to make friends with the witches or something. No, keep it simple. Can't make friends with the witches. Yeah, so if we've got the day cycle, there's a pen. We've got like the day cycle of dawn, and that's a really bad sun. Is this a better sun? I don't know. To the dusk. Oi, oi, oi. Dawn to dusk, and like time passes, and maybe actions are also dependent on what time of day it is. Like some things change over the time of day, but mainly what happens over the time of day is just you lose time, and so you have to figure out on this path a way, and at the time of dusk, game ends, and either it ends. And depending on what state you're in at the ending, there's like one, I guess, fail state, which is like, oh no, I mean maybe the whole story should be about the bandits attacking, and there can be funny endings where like the bandits come and kill the whole village, but you don't notice because you're in the bushes with the nobleman's daughter, or the bandits come and kill everyone, you huddle in the farmer's hut with them, but so you survive, kind of thing. Like, or there's ones where you defeat the bandits, like, so there should be like, in the ending state there should be like status of bandits, status of the character, some kind of funny outcome that happens with those two interplaying, you know. And that's how you construct the end state. But the end is based on a time, so there needs to be time passage. Game finishes a playthrough at dusk. That gives you a funny epilogue about what happened. Like, you know, you can sabotage the. Maybe you can go to the bandits' camp and like tie all their shoelaces because you've drugged their pot of stew with something from the witch's house, and so that's meant that they all pass out and you tie their shoelaces. And so there's a funny story about how you did that. But do we think that I can achieve those number of outcomes within the state of just having two choices per every interaction? Like, let's say if you interact with a bandit, let's say I want the shoelaces tying option. Like, maybe there's like an option which is tie shoelaces, which is like a 1 in 100 chance when they're awake. But if you manage to get them drunk or sleepy, that goes up in chance. But the fact that there is a tie shoelaces option means that you've got that implies a way of doing something, right? Whereas, should that option only appear at the point at which they're in a state where tying shoelaces is even remotely reasonable? And should actions actually ever be locked? Or should they just be really, really unlikely? Like, you can try and bribe the guard with 0 coins, but it's like a 1 in 100 chance. I don't mind that option, to be honest. Why is the music so quiet that you can't actually hear it? I don't know. Yeah, that's an interesting one. Like, I maybe I just can't work with music anymore when I'm doing like design work and thinking work. I think it's just not possible. I think I'm struggling. Yeah, so you've got 2 options. Got these things. I'm getting quite detailed already. I'm wondering if I need to take a step back. Because the action design, I actually think I'm already happy with. Like, these being the mechanics, I think I like it. Collect items. All items are in a container. Yeah. So there's no interaction where like there's just a coin on the floor and you press E with it and you take it or not. Or is there not? Maybe not all items are in containers then. Yeah, I think all items are not in containers. I think that's a falsehood. Items can be in containers. I think that makes more sense, to be honest. Because let's say there's a coin on the floor or something you need to pick up. I think it makes more sense that you can just do that. Okay. I think we either need to start just going through the actions and designing them, which seems like a very specific thing to do, or maybe we get into a blank Unreal project and start trying to block out these things and see if that's going to work. Oh, I don't know. Oh, it's weird. I wasn't expecting this to be the kind of game that I had in front of me at this point, you know? In my mind, I was going to be making something that's very micro mechanic based and very game feel based. But that's not where I've ended up at all, which is quite interesting. Is that a good or bad thing? We'll find out in the future, I guess. But I think I'm going to need to be very specific about what these actual actions and choices are to make sure that it stays under the 2-month dev time. I think I should design everything first, for sure, before I start getting into Unreal. I think that's just smarter. I think. Because if it was micro design based, like game feel, like a shooter or whatever, I think jumping straight into Unreal is good because that gives you the chance to test, like, oh, is this shooting style fun? Is this, platforming mechanic fun? But I think with this game, it's more about making sure that I can create a very cohesive, interesting, interconnected set of choices. And the interactions are kind of just the actual inputs, and game reactions are kind of secondary. Oof, is there like a way you can burn down a building? You definitely shouldn't be able to burn down any building you want. There should be like 2 buildings you can burn. Either you can like burn the witches or you can burn the church kind of thing. Kind of vibe. Okay, so let's start getting specific about all the actions that can be in these places. And for that, I think we need to start structuring a more structured design document. I think Miro is great for mind mapping and thinking and sketching. But I think we need to start with a proper GDD. Interesting. So I don't think we'll take on this page. I think we'll get out of this page and make a new design document. So current personal projects. Let's make a new /page, which will be called Life of Morrow Higgs. I don't know why I still find that name funny, but I do. And we'll drag this up to here into current. Let's get these two up next to each other. Add an icon. Is there like a sword? Yeah, this one's funny. Fencer. Life of Morrow Higgs. What would we call this? Like the elevator pitch. Turn into heading 1. Elevator pitch /heading 1. Design pillars /heading 1 let's do a /toggle heading 1, which will be core mechanics. The design pillars have to be experimentation humor. I think experimentation, humor. What other design pillars are there? What do I put next to this? Yeah, experimentation and humor are two basically core design pillars. It should be fun to try different choices and see their outcomes on the world, story, and epilogue. Humor. The choices should aim for humor over realism or any kind of structured approach. Elevator pitch. At the moment we can that's like the story setup. Elevator pitch we can figure out later. Core mechanics. We've got toggle heading 3. Yeah. Interactions. Toggle heading 3. Choices. Toggle heading 3. Items and inventory. Toggle heading 3. Which is time. Let's start with the more wishy-washy ones. So time, the game is, let's do bullet points. The game is experienced over 1 in-world day. The end of the day signals the end of the playthrough and the generation of the epilogue. Yeah, items inventory. This is basically converting these things into specific bullet points that we can use to create a GDD, which can actually give us like our, basically giving us our code structure. Item inventory. Items are added to the inventory as a success or fail reward from a choice. Items leave the inventory due to a success or fail. Items can be added or removed items can be added or removed from the inventory due to a success or fail from a choice. That's basically inventory is unlimited and stackable. Does it need to be stackable? Is unlimited by space, weight, or any other realism factor. Yeah, so the unlimited inventory. Items can be added or removed from the inventory based on a choice. There's no way to just drop item. The only way you can get rid of it is by making a choice for that thing. So for example, you might be able to like place something in a specific crate, but not every crate can you place an item in. Yeah, and not every crate can you return an item. So I guess if there's like a lockbox, maybe there's like take item, replace item once it's open. Interactions. Um, interactions are linked to a physical object or character. So you go up to a physical object or character and interact with it, and that tells you interactions pause time, pause game time. Interactions contain either one or two choices. Interactions can be locked or leavable. Locked interactions do not allow the player to cancel them. Choices. This is the hard one. How do I get this down into nice specific bullet points? Choices have two possible outcomes with an implied success and fail. Whether or not we show that to the player yet, I'm not sure. I think that's something we can decide later as of when we want to do that. Choices can be locked. Don't know if that's actually a core thing. Because we could also just have a system of the chance gets so exponentially difficult that it's not going to happen. Choices have variable. Choices have a chance to succeed and fail. X out of Y. The chance is decided by factors. Possible factors are editable input by player, choose item, or amount of coin, etc. No etc. You should never put an etc. unless there really is like a super long list of things that are very implied. But in a design document, you should always like try and be specific about a thing. And at the beginning, when you're setting out your core mechanics and design pillars and things like that, you should be only including things that you think are true. So, for example, there I have this thing that choices can be locked, and that might be a design that I choose to make later on. Funny choices. But generally speaking, when you're making your initial design document, you should only include the things that you think are actually true. Like when I really think about it, can choices be locked? I mean, maybe, but maybe it's funnier if they're not locked and it's just got a really unlikely chance of succeeding. You know, if you go up to the guard and you say to the guard, "I'm going to bribe you." Like, should it just be locked if you have no coin, or should you be able to try and bribe the guard with nothing, and it just be a 1 in 200 chance? And like someone might just press that for fun, and then it fails, and they get beaten. Whatever the fail outcome is of trying to bribe the guard. Yeah, that's an interesting thought process. But I think that's the way to go. Items in inventory. Yeah. Choices. Choices have two possible outcomes with an implied success and fail. Not with an implied. That are an implied success and fail. Choices have a chance to succeed or fail. X out. I don't need X out of Y. The chance is decided by factors. These factors are the editable input by a player, chosen item or amount of coin, or by story states. Examples of that are like character drunk, or God prayed to, etc. Like those sort of things where like you've done an action, story states from previous actions. Oof, there's going to be a lot of data management and data tracking in this game, which is not something I've really had that much experience with doing well. So that's going to be an interesting one to think about. Fun design. Edible chances. Yeah, this last one I'm also not sure about. Both the choices can be locked and choices can be repeatable. Do I want to put that choices can be repeatable or single use? No, that's not true. I don't want to put that in document. It's not true. These design pillars, I'm not 100% sure on either. We'll see how these develop as we go through the design. Like I know that experimental and humor are going to be important, but I don't know if they're really the design pillars. I think they are. We'll figure out the elevator pitch later. That's just me having a paragraph that I can go back to and be like, am I fulfilling this design pitch that I'm giving my player? You know, if I'm giving my player an expectation, am I fulfilling that? That's kind of what the point of an elevator pitch in my mind is, just to go back to something and be like the touchstone of like, am I fulfilling this fantasy? See, I haven't even talked about the dice roll in any of this. Choices. Selected choices are tested with a dice roll. Maximum 6-sided. No. Selected choices are tested with a dice roll. I think that's enough. Are a physical object or character that the player can interact with. Interactions pause game time. I think they should always pause game time. I think we want to have it be a fun experimental thing. I don't think the added time pressure of like interacting with someone and then only having a certain amount of time, or affecting overall game, like the day length. Yeah. I'm not 100% on that one, but I think it is. I think it is the best way to go. So leave them for the moment. Interactions contain either one or two choices. I agree with that. I think they should be simple. At least one choice, maybe two choices. And then the last thing is interactions can be locked or leavable. So, for example, if you go up and interact with the noble, you can't just walk away from him because his guards will kill you, whatever. And then just a subnote of locked interactions do not allow the player to cancel them. Choices. Choices have two possible outcomes. Yeah, we never want more than two outcomes for a choice. We want it to be a simple dice roll. We don't want like a system of like, if you roll a 3, this happens. If you roll a 6, this happens. It's not full D&D like charisma checks or whatever. You know, like, oh, it kind of worked, but it didn't really work. So I think keep that simple. The chance is decided by factors. They have a success or fail. Those factors are basically two things, which is you have an editable input by the player that can edit the effect of what's going on, or the story states from previous actions. Like if you've done something to make someone drunk, or if you've done something like you prayed lots, or maybe you've whatever it might be, like you made an enemy of the witch by killing the cat, your chances for getting the witch to give you the magical spell is very low. Selected choices are tested with a dice roll. Yeah, that's just a aesthetic thing, which I like. I like the idea of you choosing the thing and then like big die appear at the bottom of the screen. You flick them up, and they roll around the real world. I think that's a very hooky visual that I think will sell the vibe. Items in inventory. You've got unlimited item space, and it's not like a weighted inventory. It's not like a slot based one. There's no quick use actions. Like you don't use any of these items ever. But yeah, 1 second. Okay, they're not limited by any way. Items that can only be added or removed from the inventory through a success or fail. Through a successful fail. Let's change it. Through a items can be added or removed from the inventory through a action result. That's cleaner wording. So not an action result, through a choice result. So you can't just drop things, you can't just pick things up. There's no like quick pickup. There's interact with the thing. You then get given your 1 or 2 choices of, like for example, if there's like a coin on the floor, you walk up to it, you press your E, and you get the one choice of pick up or the X for like leave action. And the last part is time. I think that this is the one that I'm least sure on. But I think it's important that we start getting the concept in there, because I want this to be a pretty tight experience, a pretty short experience that isn't, I don't want you to be in this village for each playthrough for like 5 hours. Like it should be maximum like 30 minutes to an hour for an enjoyable playthrough. Which might mean we need to start thinking about like fast speed up time. Like let's say the first thing you do is walk up and try and stab the guard, and he beats you and the constable puts you into prison. You should be able to speed up time. You should have some ways to try and get out, maybe. Like maybe there's a lock you can pick, or someone you can try and bribe, or a prisoner that you can try and talk to see if like there's some information you can gather. Like, there might be a route to completing the game where you purposely get put in prison for some reason. Anyway, but then let's say the player gets to a point where they don't think they can continue, but they want to see what the outcome will happen if they finish this playthrough. There should be like a skip time or skip to end or something. There should be a speed up time, I think, but we'll see. The end of the day signals the end of that playthrough and the generation of the epilogue. Yeah, so there is then a reward at the end that tells you this little story that happened post whatever situation you left the village in. I think this is quite concise. I think this is good. My core mechanics. I think it's very simple interactions. This is going in the opposite direction that I thought I was going to be going in, which is going on a very game feel based game. But this is now quite a cerebral game with quite a lot of data management, which is a very different kind of programming, one that I don't have the most experience with. So I don't know if we're not fulfilling the minimal new skills required for me, but it's not really a new skill. It's just I need to figure out a new approach to this thing. Yeah, have I decided? I mean, the today's has definitely led me down this path of my game called The Life of Hot Morrow Higgs. Is it decided? No. I don't think you can decide what game you're going to make in the same session you come up with the idea for it. I think I need to sleep on it and think. And I think for the moment, this is the path I'm going down until I have a brainwave or I realize there's something about this that makes it impossible for me to make. So those are two things that can happen. But I'm very happy with how it's feeling. I can see the fun. That's the key thing. Like with any game, it's what is the fun. And the fun is seeing the silly little interactions at the end of the playthrough, seeing some crazy little story about what happened. I think in an ideal world, that story would play out in like a in-world cutscene. But I just think that's feature creep, that's scope. Let's figure out a way of displaying it in text first, yeah? Yeah, exactly. You'll fall asleep and in bed you'll be lying there thinking, oh, idea, idea. But for the moment, this is the direction I'm moving because I do think that the interaction is simple, and I do think it's got scope to be silly and fun, which is what I wanted. So that's good. So what I think I need to make for my design document is some kind of database of items, their interaction and their choices, and then those I think I'll create a separate database for the chances of those choices, because there's gonna be quite a lot of numerical design, like deciding every single one's chance and the multipliers for that chance. So I think what I should do is under core mechanics I should create a new heading which is like design docs, and then I'll create a page, or like let's do database inline full page. No, I don't want AI help. This database is going to be called interactions. So I'm going to name the object name add property, which is like going to be a select, which is going to be level area, and then another maybe I should then have a let's do a test object. Let's say like let's say oh god, I'm already like they made this too specific. Maybe I should figure out the larger design of these things first. I think that this is now getting too specific already. This is when your brain. I want to like keep progressing, but I also need to take the time to look and think. Which is hard, because I want to just like go, let's make this happen, because, you know, tight design time, tight dev schedule, but if you take the proper time to think it through now, it saves you so much headache in the future. And I know that, because I've had headaches in the past. So let's just figure out another page, which will be called areas and their actors. And in here, we will go through these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10, what up? Oh, 10 would be quite a nice number. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 areas. The 10 areas, the people that might be inside there, the actions you might be able to take in there, and general ideas for what those could be. I think we'll do it as toggle headings rather than pages. So if we just do a toggle heading 1, the big one I think is going to be the in. I think that's one that's got the most interplaying parts. So slash toggle heading 2. Let's not do toggle heading 2. Let's just do that. Let's just say we've got like gambling table. We've got barkeep. Maybe I'll start doing like a little note like P O object person. Then we'll do the loan shark person, the prostitute person. Not prostitute. Is loan shark not a word? What was a word? Loan shark, 2 words then. Loan shark. Maybe I'll do like a little slash heading for core objects slash heading for minor objects. Because the things like I want to note down that there'll be booze and what happens when you drink booze. But that's not like a core object to the story. Like, that's just going to create an outcome that makes you drunk, which probably, if you what if there I haven't considered the fact that there might be states you can be in. Like, are you drunk? Are you on drugs? Are you infected by the witches? Are you blessed by the church? Are you blessed by the witches or cursed by the church? Do I like that as an idea? Like, you have your states. Maybe you can have a debuff. I'm just thinking through all the implications of having a debuff. Anyway, we'll think about that later. Food. But is there really any interesting reason to interact with food? I guess not to eat it, but maybe to pick it up. I've just thought of a new thing. So, example we have here with the bribery. If we expand like this button out, so it's bigger, so it's more easy to see. We have like bribe. And originally we had the coin bracket coin 7 up arrow down arrow, and it's not locked. But what if we also had up arrow down arrow for this? So there's two inputs, which is what and how much. So let's say you could pick up food and booze, and so instead of bribing the guard with coin 7, you could bribe him with booze 1, because he's the drunken guard. He's the drunken guard. I'm not gonna fucking type it out. He's the drunken guard. So you can bribe him with coin or booze, or you could try and go ahead and bribe him with fucking hay or whatever you want. And that then and then that goes like, let's say coin 7 is like a 3 out of 6. But then if you change this to booze 1, you change this to booze 1, it then goes up to a like 5 out of 6, because he's a drunk, so he really wants the booze but kind of wants the coin. Is that interesting? Might be. Why does Mirror keep disconnecting me and reconnecting me anyway? But does that create... I mean, I guess the choice still has only one success or fail. As a... I mean, not really though, because if, let's say, you have a situation where you have this outcome, there is not just one success and fail. There is success, I paid him, so I got my way in. But there's also success, I've got my way in, plus he's drunk. I think this becomes too convoluted. I think fuck off this idea. Fuck off these things. you can only change the amount of something, and the only thing you can change the amount of is coin. Everything else is just a single use. I think got to simplify. Work within the constraints, because I'm sure we can change this, and then we have like more outcomes for a single person. I think we should keep it simple and focus on the larger world outcomes. Which means I'm not sure what the use of picking up booze or food or interacting with booze or food is. I think maybe it just changes chances with a buff or debuff on the player. I'll think about that. One second, I need to pee. I've been drinking too much today. I need to pee so much. So let's carry on thinking about the core objects first before we start thinking about minor ones. Let's go back to the inn here. I think we've also got the doorman, who is a person. We've also got. I think we should have the. Like the above the mantelpiece of the barkeep has like some special sword or something. Like the drunkard. Is a different person. We have like. What am I trying to say? The barkeep's sword. Object. What else would be in an inn? Medieval inn. I like the idea of like a chair leg. You got to think about like weapons to use, things to barter with, things that other people might want. I think the drunkard's a minor actor. Doorman, prostitute, loan shop, barkeep, gambling table. These are all major actors. What else could you interact with the barkeep with? Because if you've got the barkeep, there needs to be some way to get him away from the bar so you can take his sword, right? There should be like he's blocking the bar, so you can't get behind the bar to get the sword. but if he goes out from the bar, he leaves the bar door open so you can then get in and take the sword. So maybe you can start a fight by giving certain people certain things. Maybe if you give booze to the drunkard, he starts a fight. Or if you give coin to the drunkard, he tries to pay the prostitute who doesn't want him, or something. I don't know. There's definitely something in there. I think it's a decent start for the toggle heading 1. So we've got the inn. I think the easier ones are like the church. I think in the church we have like firstly we have a heading 4 for core objects and a heading 4 for minor objects. Have things like candlestick holder. That's a nice weapon you can use. Core objects, we've got the priest. We've got a devout follower. Person. We have the altar object, which is where you can pray. And praying does different things. It would be like if you pray enough, the choice later on of like when you face a bandit, you can pray for salvation, and then if you prayed enough or given money, so of course we'll need the collection tray object, which you can either take from or give to, and that changes things. Yeah, I can see this. I can see this working. Or like maybe you can convince other people to go give money to the collection tray, and then God sees that favorably, and then your chances for later on work better or something. There's definitely interplay there that's fun. Toggle heading 1. What else is pretty easy? Noble's house. And then we'll do slash heading 4 with core objects. Let's just get these all done. Heading 4 with minor objects. We'll just do a little boop boop. Boop, boop, boop. And this one will just Noble's house, garrison, farmer A, farm A, farm B, the witch's hut, the bandits camp, and then the last one, which we actually will put at the top, is the streets. What can you find out in the world? The smithy I'm not sure about yet. Maybe we'll put it on there. The smithy. That's 10 locations. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10. It's actually quite a lot. I think you could probably do this game all in one location, like just do the inn and make an interesting thing with just the inn. And that might be a smart pivot to make if this starts feeling like too much. Because at the moment, now we've got like 1, 2, 3, like 3 or 4 unique like vibes, which need assets for them. Like, unless I find a whole medieval village pack with all this stuff, I guess I can use the polygon stuff, but I don't know if that's the best way to go with style, just because it's a very common pack. Yeah, the streets. What's in the streets? Homeless man, person, cat, lost cat. It's technically a person. It's an person, so it's lost dog. It's not an object you can pick up. It's not an object you can use. Person. Lost cog? No, dog. What else will be in the streets? Minor objects, there'll be some coins. Object. Any other core things in the streets? There'll be like a patrolling guard person. There'll be the messenger person, who's the person that tells everyone that the bandit's coming. In the noble's house, we have the mayor person, the mayor's daughter person. Minor objects, probably coin. There'll be the lockbox object. The jewelry box. There'll be in the church there'll be the sword of truth, or some other fancy name. The holy sword of blah. Powerful weapon. Noble's house. I think it should be quite hard to get into the noble's house, so there should be like guards, people. Where could you get clothes to infiltrate the noble's house? Like, there should be something going on at the noble's house, like a party. Yeah, I think it says like a party going at the noble's house, and you have like some people middling around that you can like try and pickpocket or bribe or something. I don't know. Interesting. Minor objects. Party guests. People. Servants. People. These people that either have like one option or no options, like they're not interactable. Like they're going to be things that maybe you can interact with some, not all. If you can interact with them, they're all like a minor interaction. That's what the minor objects are. The major objects are like things that have two options, things that might actually change other things in the future, things that actually give you something really useful. Object, coins, object. Guards, servants, minor. Lazy servant is a person that you can interact with that's a major one. I think there should be someone you should like be able to club and take like a servant's outfit to get inside. I think that's a vibe. Oh, outfits. I guess then that's just another version of buff. I think we can create some buffs where it's like you can interact with the servant, you can knock them out. Once they're knocked out, you can steal their clothes, and that gives you like a buff, which is like that'll be how we'll track it all back end, and for the player like show a little buff saying, you know, servant's outfit. Okay, I don't mind that as an idea. I think that's good. There should be some things you can get as weapons in the world, like there should be like a hidden dagger or something. Patrolling guard, the messenger, garrison. There's lots of guards. Maybe there's too many guards. There's doormans, there's guards. People. Sword object. There's gonna be trainee guard, trainee soldier person, someone you can spar to get something from them. Depending on what you use to bring to that, you can do worse or better. Maybe. Minor objects. Coin will be here. I don't think I need to say coin for every fucking location. Yes, it's a waste of like clutter. Like you don't need to know every location has maybe some coin somewhere or something. Yeah, we need to figure out the overarching connections between these places and people, but we'll figure that out later. Because just going through it linearly is good for getting some ideas down, some base things down. But I don't think it's going to create the most interesting design. I think we need to work on what's the interplay between these choices and how's that interesting. That's a very key part. Let's just carry on. Minor objects, I'll leave that empty for the moment. I like the idea of having, I mean, the guards I think are also very minor. I think having a trainee that you can spar is good. Having like commander as a person that you can persuade or bribe or charm into helping you fight the bandits maybe. Farm A, farmer person, maybe like, what's this farm's problem? Maybe the wagon's broken down? Wagon. And in the streets, there's a wagon. Merchant wagon. Farm wagon. And so maybe you can steal the wheel from the merchant wagon to replace the farm wagon on that guy. He helps you do something. But then he's got a fierce rivalry with farmer A, farmer B, person. Yeah, I like that. What's farmer B's problem? Farmer B's problem is that so their rivalry. So maybe farmer B has stolen the wheel from farmer A. You can get the wheel back in various ways, either stealing from a different wagon or farm B wagon. Farm A wagon. Maybe it's just a straight up rivalry about who's stealing whose fucking wagon wheels. I like that also. It does it as a efficient design because you basically have 3 of the same object in the world with just very slightly different textures or details, and that can fill out some space. Yeah, I do like that. I do like that a lot. Junior witch, head witch. I think we need 2 witches because you need one that you can like help, and then the other one will grant you the stuff, whether you've been nice to the other one or whatever. Cauldron object, spellbook object. Like if you don't help the head witch, the chance of learning the spell is very low. If you don't, you gotta do something, I guess. Maybe cauldron should be a minor object. Maybe we can just burn it down by accident. Then it's probably a major object if you can burn down the house. I think you should be able to burn down two things. Like at the church witch's house, you can burn down one of them, and that causes problems for the other. Like with the candlestick, maybe you can like burn down the house or whatever, burn down the church. We've got the story of the stolen wagon wheel. We've got the commander of the town watch. We've got the noble's daughter storyline. We've got the church storyline. We've got the witch storyline. The church versus witch storyline. How we're going to interact with the bandit camp, I'm not sure. The smithy, I'm not sure about either. Is the smithy part of the farmer slash... I think the smithy can either be part of the garrison storyline or the farmer storyline. You can either use him to make a wheel, or you can use him to make weapons. And one of those will give you, like... the garrison, maybe, they refuse to fight the bandits without new swords, and you can either steal that from the noble's house, or you make it at the smithy. Maybe. Yeah, I can see how that's coming together now. That makes sense. Core objects, smithy, person, and then the what do you got? The forge object, and maybe you have like weapons rack object. You can try and steal it, maybe. That's enough for that. You can buy some. I think there's a number of different ways you can get different stories to work. I'm starting to see the interplay between them, and that making sense. What I'm not sure about at the moment is the bandits fucking camp and how that works. Whether you should even be able to go there. Maybe that's too complicated. But I do think I like it. I like it. I like the storyline of the bandits camp. So we've got the chief bandits, people, chief bandit, person. We've got the bandits stew object. We've got the bandits weapons crate object. Another way to get your swords for your commander if you want to fight the bandits. You can put the bandits to sleep. Maybe with the witch's hut, if you help the head witch, you can get the spell. If you help the junior witch, you can get the sleep drug. And the junior witch you help by like helping the cat, and the head witch you help by doing something else. Like burning. If you burn down the church, you can get the spell book, kind of thing. Okay, yeah, that's making some good sense. And there's like 3 or 4 different ways to get weapons to bribe the garrison, and depending on how you get those weapons, maybe the outcome is different. Like if you get them from the noble's house, you defeat the bandits, but then the noble executes everyone or something like that. Okay. Well, it's 5:30 and my brain is turning to mush, so I'm gonna stop the stream there for tonight, or for today. And thanks for being here for the first stream of this new game, day 1. And I'm actually really surprised by how far I got. I've almost got like a really solid outline of the game, and I can see how it's all going to work. It's just whether that's fun. It's hard to say right now, but I think it could be fun. For like a short experience, short dev time kind of thing. It's just whether it's... I can see some possible flaws, but I think let's just continue with this idea, unless something else popped into my head that's genius overnight. And aim for getting our design documentation done over the next couple of days. And yeah, thanks so much for stopping by. And I will see you all in a stream very soon, hopefully.